What's up, Interweb? RhyQuinn here, and I am very, very excited today to be bringing you my draft analysis for PPL Division 2 Season 2, my third season in the PPL. Yeah, we got relegated last season, but we are here to work our way back and to try and get promoted again this season. So, today I'm going to be bringing you guys the team that I am going to be doing that with. Now, first things first, just wanted to say that if you go down in the description, you'll find all kinds of links down there. First off, to the PPL YouTube and the PPL Twitter. This season, we're hoping to have some pretty good analysis work going on over on the YouTube channel. And also, if you want to keep up to date with anything PPL related, then make sure to go and follow the Twitter account. Because the entire drafts have been tweeted from the PPL Twitter, and the Division 1 draft, which is going to happen soon, the picks for that will be tweeted out on there, so if you're interested in that, make sure to go and follow the Twitter on there, because you can keep up to date with all the picks. And for anyone that was already following, you would have seen that the entire D2 draft was tweeted out already, so if you're on Twitter, you may actually already know what my squad is, but this is just to go into more detail about why I picked them and all that stuff. Next, in the description, you'll find links to everyone who's in Division 2, essentially. Every single manager from this season will be down in the description. We've got quite the lineup of competitors for this season, and I can honestly say that there is not a bad draft this season at all. There is not a draft where I think, that one's a little bit weaker than the others. Every single draft is incredibly threatening. And it was a very good draft from everyone, I think. So make sure to go and check out everyone else's draft analysis that might be going up sometime soon, hopefully. I know Evelyn's already uploaded hers, so that's a thing. Yeah, so make sure to go check all those links as well. So all the links that are down below, just go click them all and just go either subscribe to them or follow them on Twitter or whatever it may be, because they're all really cool people. But now, let's get into it. Let's get into the draft analysis. There was a little bit of a change up in the way the drafting happened this season, in that we changed the pricing for quite a lot of the mons. We changed up the budget that we had and all that stuff. So the cap last season for the mons was 15 million for a regular Pokemon and 20 million for a Mega. That was the highest any value could go, and if anyone that would have been priced higher than that cap, they had to be voted on to be banned. Mega Latios was allowed this season. We voted on it and it got brought back in. But things like Mega Metagross are banned. What else is banned? Landorus Incarnate, Kyurem Black, Mega Latias, because that thing is stupid. Those things are banned. We also have a budget of 110 million this season, as opposed to 100 from last season. Because of the price changes, we now changed the cap for every single Pokemon to 20 million, not just Megas. We tried to treat Megas as fair as a regular Pokemon, because the lack of item that a Mega can have, they can only have their Mega Stone, they can't have an offensive item, they can't have a defensive item, so the lack of item really does burn some Megas sometimes, and you have to Mega first turn, so mons like Mega Sharpedo can't take advantage of the abilities that they have before they Mega Evolve, things like that. So, yeah, it was, we changed up the pricing quite a bit, and because of the price changes, we then have an increased budget of 110 million to spend. So I'm gonna take you guys through my team real quick. So I ended up with the first pick in the draft, which was absolutely amazing. The entire first pick was mine, and from last season, I looked at my team, and I did my postseason recap video. For those of you who've been following the PPL and following my videos since last season, you guys will have seen my postseason recap video when I went over my team and just dissected it and how bad it was. I pointed out every single flaw that my team had, and I knew I needed to try and fix it this season. It was a load of mistakes that I didn't want to make again. So I knew I needed reliable recovery on my team. I absolutely 100% needed reliable recovery. I needed switch-ins to things because I didn't have them last season. I needed a way to deal with fairies fairly reliably. And I needed synergy. I needed things that weren't weak to like one type, or two types as a whole. So that's what I wanted. Not just in terms of typing, but in terms of things that could actually take hits. So it's not just like I need this type, I need this type that can take hits. It's not just I need a fire type, I need a fire type that can take hits, or whatever it may be. Whatever type I need, I can't just get any mon from that type like I did last season when I got Whimsicott. I got it because I wanted a fairy, but Whimsicott is not the best at being a fairy. It's not the best at being a grass type either, it's just good as a utility mon. So I really had a long thing. I was planning a long time in advance for this draft. Before last season even ended, I was planning this season's draft. So I was quite excited when I was in call with the other admins, and when we randomized the draft order and it came out as first pick, I literally screamed like a little girl because I knew my first pick was guaranteed, and my first pick was a mon that I have wanted to use for a long time in draft format. I've seen so many people use it and use it well, really well, and I know it was something that I would probably enjoy using, so I really wanted it. And it cost me 17 million, and it's something that I didn't have last season, which is a good fairy. And this Pokemon is Sylveon, the Sylveon. Yes, I got Sylveon as my first pick. I'm really excited to use Sylveon. The fact that it can have, okay, quote-unquote, reliable recovery with Wish Protect. It's fairly reliable. The fact it can wish into other mons, it has Baton Pass, it has Setup. Plus it can just be straight power with Hyper Voice. You slap a Choice Specs on it, that thing's power. And the fact it can be defensive as well. It doesn't have the best defense stat, but if you have a physically defensive Sylveon, it still has enough special bulk to be specially bulky as well. So that was nice. That was what I wanted. It has a really good HP stat. It's a fairy. Fairy is a great typing as a whole. So I'm very excited to be using Sylveon. And I can't wait to see what it can do because it's cool and I love it. Yeah, so I was very excited to use Sylveon. But the only problem with having the first pick was that I then have to wait 22 picks, as it was a snake draft, until it gets back to me, because there are 12 managers, so we have to go from me all the way down to the end, and then from the end back to me again in terms of picks. What's nice about it though is that I do have a wheel pick, so I can pick 2 Pokemon in conjunction. So after I picked Sylveon, there are a load of other mons that went by, but I did have the 2 mons that I wanted next didn't get taken, so I was very happy about that. And there were 2 more bulky mons, 2 mons that are switch-ins, 2 mons that actually pair up pretty well with Sylveon in terms of synergy, not necessarily in terms of types, but you'll see what I mean in a second. So the second mon that I picked for the Nidoqueens Park Rangers for PPL D2 Season 2 is Gloria the Hippowdon. Yes, Hippowdon is back on the team, back from Season 1 for the Nottingham Forest Curse that was my team in Season 1. So we've got Sylveon and then Hippowdon. Now, Hippowdon and Sylveon are kind of the same, but opposite. Sylveon is specially offensive, Hippowdon is physically offensive. Sylveon is more specially bulky, Hippowdon is physically bulky. Hippowdon has reliable recovery and slack off, Sylveon has Wish Protect. They're both kind of slow, but that's not really the point. And though their types don't match up particularly well, like not many weaknesses are covered apart from, like Sylveon's poison weakness is resisted by Hippowdon, but other than that, none of their other type weaknesses are actually covered. But in terms of just straight up bulk, they're pretty good synergy wise. That's why I wanted to focus more on this season, is less of type synergy and more of actual Pokemon synergy. And in my eyes, Sylveon and Hippowdon actually link up really well. Not to mention the fact that I can Wish Pass into Hippowdon. It can take any hit because Hippowdon is an absolute beast, and then he can, get that wish back up and things will be grand. Not to mention as well that Hippowdon does have, base 112 attack, I want to say? Something like that. So it can hit hard when it needs to. And that's something I was very cautious of having this season as well. I didn't want anything that's set up fodder. Anything that is bulky on my team, I didn't want it to just be bulk with no offense. I wanted things that were bulky, but can also strike back when they need to. So, yeah, Gloria the Hippowdon is going to be putting in work, linking up with Sylveon, so that's cool. Hippowdon's move pool is pretty awesome with elemental fangs and things like that, which is awesome. And in conjunction with Hippowdon as well then, I've got Sylveon and Hippowdon. Of course, it was my pick again because I have a wheel pick. We went to Lobster the Shaman. Anyone who is a fan of wrestling, of WWE, will like the majority of nicknames on my team. And we got Lobster the Shaman. Lobster because of Sheamus, wrestler Sheamus, his old theme sounding like it says, "It's a shameful thing, lobster head." It didn't actually say that, but that's what it sounded like. And Shaman, Sheamus, green, it's close enough, right? So we got Lobster the Shaman. And once again, this is a mon that can be bulky if needed, and it actually links up
relatively well. I mean, Shaman and Hippowdon are both weak to ice, but grass weakness for Hippowdon's covered by Shaman. Again, there's a weakness, common weakness, Sylveon and Shaman both weak to poison, but Shaman's bulk is something I'm looking forward to using, not to mention the fact that Shaman can be an absolute beast offensively. The fact that it's base 100 across the board, you've heard enough people say it by now if you're a fan of League format, that those mons with base 100 across the board are really, really good. You invest in any one of those stats, it actually becomes pretty awesome. Yeah, it gave me a bit more speed. Though there's Sylveon and Hippowdon are both kind of slow. Shaman, base 100 speed, pretty quick. Not the quickest thing, but it's pretty quick. It can potentially be a Scarfer sometime or something like that if I need it. Like I said, bulky, it has setup in Sword Stance if I want to go that way, and it's viable because it has base 100 attack, so why not? And it has Seed Flare, which is amazing because it has like a 50% chance to lower the opponent's special defense by 2 stages. I think it's 50%. I don't know why. But yeah, so any mon that's a switch in to a Seed Flare can take one, get its special defense lowered, and then it can't take another one, so it's not really a switch in. So that'll be fun if I can try and get that going if I'm a bit lucky this season. So yeah, that was Shaman. So I got Sylveon, Hippowdon, and Shaman, and I can't remember how much I have left. I really should have looked this up more. Ugh, I'm not very organised with this. Sylveon was 17 million, Hippowdon was 15, I want to say, and Shaman was 16, I think. It's going to be on the screen how much budget I had left anyway, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, so that was Sylveon, Hippowdon, and Shaman, so I got some pretty bulky mons to start with, but mons that I was very happy to be using offensively too, which is cool. And Shaman also has reliable recoveries. That's another one. That's the third mon that has, well, Hippowdon and Shaman have reliable recovery, Slack Off, and Synthesis. Sylveon, Wish Protect, it's pretty cool. So that was that. Now, my plans were going pretty well so far. I nothing had been taken that I particularly wanted. So I was very happy with that. Sylveon, Hippowdon, and Shaman, very happy to get those first 3. Now the next part is when I had to change my plans up. Originally what I wanted was a bulky water type that I did end up getting, that I'll come on to in a second, but my other pick was going to be Crobat. It was going to be Crobat was another one I was going to get. 1, for a bit more speed, because speed is awesome. 2, for hazard removal, because that's something I definitely needed. My team is not weak to it so far, but I still need hazard removal. You can't not have hazard removal, because you will get destroyed by it. Teams will hazard stack you and phase you around. They'll do toxic spikes, they'll do whatever, and you need ways to get rid of hazard. So I wanted to get Crobat for speed, hazard removal, and a way to deal with fairies. It can switch into fairy-type moves, which is nice, and it can respond with stab poison hits as well, which is nice. With base 90 attack on Crobat, is workable. It's very workable. So, plus it can be bulky again, and it has reliable recovery. All of the things that I wanted, Crobat kind of just fit perfectly with everything that I wanted, but it got taken, so I couldn't get it. So I had to change up my plans. So I knew at some point I was going to need a poison type, but for now I needed hazard removal immediately, because hazard removal goes so quickly. There is so little to get that's actually good at hazard removal. You can get hazard removal, you can get things that have rapid spin and defog, but you have to get something good. You have to get something reliable that can reliably get rid of hazards. So I had to change up my plans. I knew later on I was going to have to change things around, change around my budgets, change around what ones I was getting in order to get another poison type, get some more hazard removal, all that stuff, get some more speed somewhere hopefully. So for the time being, all I wanted to focus on was hazard removal. But I did get that bulky water type that I wanted first. So it came back to me again. I get to pick in a pair because I was a wheel pick. So the first thing I wanted was my bulky water type, and that is Slowking. Fast Booker. The slow king, because slow, fast, king, Booker, because wrestling, again, King Booker. Anyway, yeah, so Slow King is here, which is cool. Helps out a lot with that ice weakness that I've been talking about with Hippowdon and Shaman. It is bulky as all hell. 95, 80, 110 defensive stats are pretty awesome. Again, it's kind of slow, but it does have Trick Room, which is cool. And it can be offensive again. It has base 100 special attack. It has Calm Mind if I want to set up with that. It has reliable recovery and slack off, and it has Regenerator. There are a lot of things I want to do with Slowking. It has really good coverage as well. Slowking really fits well on this team, I feel, and the synergy between Sylveon, Hippowdon, Shaymin, and Slowking is really cool. Like I said, it may not be the best in terms of typing, but in terms of the bulk that I have, it works. It really works. Well, at least I hope it works. It works on paper. Whether it actually works or not is another question, but it should work. I'm hopeful, quietly hopeful about those first 4 picks, and they were all 4 that I wanted. I was debating between Slowking and Slowbro, but I ended up going with Slowking. I don't know why. I just prefer it because reasons. So yeah, that is Slowking. Fast Booker, the Slowking. Definitely a lot of things I want to try out with Slowking. Should be really good on this team, I feel. But to fix that hazard removal problem, I ended up getting Forretress. This is Janetti, the Forretress. Janetti, the Forretress. And also Janetti because it's a rocker. Forretress is a rocker. Janetti was part of the Rockers in old school WWE tag team. Yep. So Janetti, the Forretress, is going to be really cool. Again, it's hazards to set up because at the minute I only have Hippowdon for rocks, I think. It's hazard removal. It's a steel type, which is cool. It does have that 4 times weakness to fire, but I do have Slowking to try and take that a little bit better. And Hippowdon can still take hits anyway because it's a beast, same as Sylveon. So yeah, they don't mind taking like HP fires. That's fine. But it's hazard removal. It's reliable hazard removal. With base 140 defense, 75 HP, Forretress can be taking physical hits all day. Not to mention, it's not set up fodder. People say that Forretress is weak. It has base 90 attack, which is not something to be, not something to sniff at. And yeah, again, it's another slow Pokemon. I realize I'm drafting a very slow team. Slowking does have the Trick Room, potential for some shenanigans, maybe, but Forretress is slow, but it gets durable, so that's fun. And base 90 attack, which is always good. It's a steel type, which I didn't have so far. Hazard removal, which is what I wanted, what I needed, really. So yeah, I was happy to pick it up. I say I was happy. I don't like Forretress as a whole. I don't like the Pokemon, but I wanted to pick it up because it fit the team at the time that I needed. It filled the roles that I wanted it to fill, so we got Forretress in the end. It's a bit annoying that I wanted a thing with base 130 speed, which was Crobat, and ended up getting something with base 40 speed, which is Forretress. Oh well, I'll deal with it, I guess. Now, we moved on with the draft, more picks getting taken, more drafts, more teams looking even scarier, and we move on to the next part, and again, this next part, I got sniped twice. There were 2 mons that I wanted, 2 mons that in particular that I really, really wanted. Again, I wanted Jolteon. I needed that speed. I really wanted that speed. It would really, really help out my team to have that speed. Wanted Jolteon, and I wanted Arcanine. I could not believe that Arcanine had not been drafted at this point. It wasn't in my plans originally, but it was pointed out to me. I was like, Arcanine hasn't been drafted. I was like, oh my god, Arcanine hasn't been drafted. Let's go. So I wanted Jolteon for that fast electric type, and I wanted Arcanine. Those are going to be my next 2 picks. Both of them got taken in the same round, literally about 2 picks apart. Jolteon and Arcanine both got taken, so I was like, that's not what I was hoping for. Again, they would have been perfect on this team. The fact that Arcanine gets reliable recovery, again, it's bulky, it's offensive. Jolteon with that speed, with Volt switching, it would have been great. It would have been really nice to have both of those, but they both got taken. Now, I came up with a backup plan. I changed my plans around completely, and I knew exactly what I wanted to pick for the remainder of the draft. With those 2 taken, I changed my entire plans, and I knew exactly what I wanted to draft for all the rest of my picks. So I changed the order around. I knew what I wanted to get now because it was an absolute priority to get now because there's a high chance of them getting taken. And I waited on some other things, so I didn't get an immediate replacement for Jolteon and Arcanine until later. So, we ended up going with the next picks. We got Michaels, the Hitmonlee, because I've got Janetti, so we might as well get Michaels and complete the Rockers, am I right? And he has the legs for the switching music and stuff. Yep, we got the Rockers on my team. So Hitmonlee is again hazard removal. It does have Rapid Spin, which is another form of removal which I want. I don't just want one thing. So we've got Hitmonlee. Base 120 attack. It's the highest attack stat so far on my team. Reckless high jump kicks just kill all of the things. It only has base 87 speed, which is kind of middling, but it does have Unburden, so I can make it Sanic. I can make it super quick, which is awesome. Again, something that my team needs is a bit of speed. And yeah, it's just a beast, basically. A fighting type is always nice to have. Fighting just kind of runs through a lot of teams. And yeah, it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to using. Marcus the Hitmonlee is going to be putting in work because it's just a beast. It gets access to so many high base power moves. And with that fighting type, it's good. It's going to be good. A surprising bulk as well. Base 110 special defense. That's cool. So in the pair, of course, I get to pick pair as always. The next one that I wanted is Beersea the Stoutland. Stout, beer, land, sea. Beersea. Beersea the Stoutland, because I have a Powdon. Hippowdon and Stoutland coming through because Sandrush Stoutland is terrifying. Stoutland with that base 110 attack, with access to some of the most powerful moves in the game. With the coverage it has in, Elemental Fangs, it has Crunch, and it has its just stab normal moves, which just hit like an absolute truck. Throwing that thing like Banded or Life Orb or whatever, that's going to be hurting. Like, again, he has a middling speed, base 80 speed, but in Sandrush, that gets doubled, so that's fast. Not to mention as well, I can run it bulky if I want to. It gets Intimidate, and it has 85, 90, 90 in terms of defensive stats, and HP, defense, and special defense. So that is definitely workable in terms of a defensive mon as well. So again, I have a mon that's bulky, but can be offensive. I have switch-ins to things, which is cool. That's always fun, having switch-ins. So, yeah, that was Beersea the Stoutland and Hitmonlee on my 2 picks for that one. And again, the drop move on. Came back to me again, and I knew this time what I wanted to get. And at this point, I was pretty certain. I hadn't picked a Mega Pokemon at this point, and I knew exactly what Mega Pokemon I wanted, so I was going to wait until the very end, because no one else can get it. Either people hadn't picked a Mega and they couldn't afford it at this point, or they already had a Mega. I think so. I went with 2 other Pokemon, and this one was an Electric type and a Poison type. Like I said earlier, I got taken from Crobat, so I knew I needed a Poison type at some point, and I needed that Electric type to replace Jolteon. It's not as good as Jolteon, but it's something I wanted. It's not as quick, but it's cool, and that is regular Rotom, and this is Fred Ottman, the Rotom. This is a very obscure wrestling reference. Those of you that don't know, Fred Ottman portrayed probably the most infamous and worst debut of a character ever in WWE, that being the Shockmaster. And Rotom is an Electric type and a Ghost type, which is kind of shocking in different ways. Am I right? So Rotom is the Shockmaster. Fred. Yep. So that's regular Rotom. Base 95 special attack is decent. Base 91 speed is cool. The fact that it outspeeds the other Rotom forms is kind of cool. That's fun. And yeah, I mean, I could run it Scarfed if I want to. It's pretty damn good in NU. So I'm hoping I can use it effectively. And who knows if it can do some shenanigans. It's cool. It's a spin blocker, which is nice if I want to set up hazards on my opponent's side. Spin blocking is fun. So that's a thing. So yeah, regular Rotom. Want to see if it can do things. Hopefully it can. And in conjunction with Rotom, I then got Weezing. And Weezing is Dolph Zingler. Shout out to Shroom. So yeah, we got Dolph Zingler. The Weezing. It's a Poison type, which is what I wanted. It's a way to switch into Fairy moves, which is cool. It can hit back with Stab Poison hits. Base 90 attack, 85 special attack is decent. Base 120 defense is awesome. Base 70 special defense is cool. Again, 60 speed, not the quickest thing around. I'm aware of this, but it's fine. And it doesn't have reliable recovery, but it can take advantage of that wish from Sylveon. And it does have Pain Split, which can work sometimes. But mainly what it's there for, as a way to deal with fairies, effectively. Also, it can set up Toxic Spikes, which is cool. So I can start Hazard Stacking, because Hazard Stacking is fun. So that's Dolph Zingler, the Weezing. And then the draft move on again. Some people had finished at this point because you can have a team of anywhere from 8 to 11 Pokemon. Some people had finished drafting as the picks went on and on. More teams were saying, yeah, that's my last pick, I'm done. More teams were getting completed, and it got back to me again, and I knew what I wanted. I wanted speed. Now, originally I wanted Excelgor. That was taken, but luckily it had gone out of my plans before it got taken anyway. It was originally in my plans, but then Crobat got taken, and because of that I had to get a Poison type later, and other things. Arcanine getting taken meant I needed to get another Fire type. So Excelgor had to be removed from my plans, which sucks because I've wanted Excelgor 3 seasons in a row now, and still not got it. Hey ho, maybe next season. So for the last 2 picks, I was going to get a full team of 11. I had 20 million to spend. I knew exactly what I wanted to get. Now the last Pokemon on the team, the last 2 Pokemon on the team. The first one is Tart Scream the Pyroar. Shout out to Evelyn for the nickname, because Pie, Tart, Roar, Scream. Tart Scream the Pyroar. And this is a bit of speed. Base 106 speed is fairly workable. Base 109 special attack is cool. Not to mention it has base 68 attack, which might not seem very good, but it gets Moxie and Flame Charge. And that's fun. So I'm looking forward to using Pyroar. It's a lot of people say it's kind of one-dimensional. Yeah, it kind of is, but if the opponent's team has been worn down to the point where they can't do anything about it, tough. You're still going to get burnt by a Pyroar. It's fun. Stab Hyper Voice is fun, so people can't set up subs on it. Fire Blast just hits kind of really hard. So yeah, that's Tart Scream the Pyroar. I'm looking forward to using that guy, because I want to use Pyroar. And it's the PPL mascot, so I automatically win, right? Right? That's the way it works. Yeah, thought so. And then the last Pokemon, this is my Mega pick. This is exactly what I wanted. You don't have to draft a Mega in this league, by the way. Don't have to draft a Mega at all, but I knew I wanted this from the start. This has been in my plans longer than any Pokemon ever. I knew I wanted this Mega pick right from the start. Even before we even started, way before we started. Before, I think, even Lars got it in GBA. I wanted Mega Absol, and I got Mega Absol. And I had a feeling it would go undrafted, and it did. Got to me. And I wanted Mega Absol Love. This is, I've forgotten the nickname. Red Bull! Red Bull. Because Absol gets wings when it Megas. And Red Bull gives you wings. And Mega Absol, wings. Yep, so Mega Absol was something I desperately needed. It gives me more speed. It's the quickest thing on my team after it Megas, obviously not before. It gives me powerful priority. It gives me a mixed attacker. Base 150 attack, the highest thing on my team, and base 115 special attack is awesome. It has very cool mixed coverage. What with its Dark Stab, with Pursuit, Knockoff, and Sucker Punch, with mixed stab like Ice Beam, I think it's Thunderbolt, or the thingy, Flamethrower maybe. Something. It gets Will-O-Wisp, which is fun. It has Magic Bounce, another thing to prevent hazards, because my team isn't weak to hazards per se. I don't want to be hazard stacked though, and all that stuff. So that's a thing. And it's nice. I like it. I like Mega Absol a lot. I like the way that Lars is using it in GBA, and I'm looking forward to using it myself because it's fun. I like Mega Absol and it looks cool, and it has Sucker Punch, which is so powerful. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that's my team overall, guys. It's Sylveon, Hippowdon, Shaman, Slowking, Forretress, Hitmonlee, Stoutland, Rotom, Weezing, Pyroar, and Mega Absol. I spent my entire budget. I have no money left over for any potential transfers or anything like that. I mean, that's fine. We'll get to that later. So what do you think of my team? This is the Nidoqueens Park Rangers for Division 2 Season 2, my 3rd season in the PPL. Do you guys think I can get promoted with this team? Let me know. I want to know what you guys think. And do you think Sylveon was a stupid first pick like some people thought? It's nice to know when people know what they're talking about in draft format. I'm not salty at all. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. And I'll see you real soon for the first match, which should be uploaded February the 9th, I want to say. 10th? 10th! February the 10th. Every Wednesday. Division 2 uploads are on Wednesdays. So it'll be on Wednesday the 10th is the first upload. So, yeah. I guess I'll see you guys then for the very first week. We're playing Electric Storm 252 in the Melbourne Victory Star. So that should be fun. So I will see you guys in that first match then. Bye-bye. Doodaloo.